guys, it's Lori from PassionatePennyPincher.com. If you are watching the replay, this is going to be kind of a funky day, but I'm going to tell you kind of what's going on, and you can kind of see, you'll be able to scoot back and forth and get to the place you want to be. So today I am doing a speed painting challenge. I'm going to see how fast I can paint a chair to kind of inspire myself to get it painted. Then what we're going to do, because I'm going to try not to talk a whole lot during it because I want to get it done fast because I got to get this paint table painted, I am going to turn on a podcast by one of my favorite ever podcasters. In fact, this one that is like one of my favorites. So that way I thought we could listen to it while we work. I'm hoping she won't get mad at me. The name of the podcast is The Next Right Thing by Emily P. Freeman. I don't think she ever watches. I'm sure she has no idea who I am, but I adore you, Emily P. Freeman. I love The Next Right Thing podcast. So we're going to listen to that. I hope it's okay that I'm doing that. I hope that's not going to get me in trouble. I don't think it will. So we're going to paint this. You can also click the link in the video to get the Be Awesome in April Spring Cleaning Challenge checklist. I would love to tell you that, guys. Also, there are so many deals today, y'all. The deals are ridiculous. So visit PassionatePennyPincher.com. You've got to go there. Just go to PassionatePennyPincher.com. There's an awesome deal on an Instant Pot. It's like $59, lowest price we've ever seen. There's an awesome deal on some Kohl's stuff, like Kohl's appliances for $2.52. There are a ton of deals. So click the link, or I guess there's not a link for that. Just go visit PassionatePennyPincher.com. I am going to go really fast. You guys tell me what you are up to today. Tell me if anybody's going to paint. We're going to set a timer. It is almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to get this chair painted. I'm going to tell you the way that I'm going to go super fast. The hardest part is going to be, I'm going to have to figure out how to kind of turn it around so you guys can see it. So we may have to do some wiggling because I'll kind of move things around. Oh, good job. Who just said that? You made my day, Jean. You just said you are sanding down a table. Awesome job. Oh, Paula, you just got home from work. I hope you had a good evening at work last night. Okay, guys, so here we go. I'm going to turn her podcast on. Go listen to the name of the podcast if somebody wants to pop it in the notes. Nicole, if you can pop it in the notes. It's The Next Right Thing by Emily P. Freeman. This is one of her first ones. I haven't listened to this one in a while, but I've listened to it like 58 times. So there you go. Are we ready? It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to start painting after I turn this on because I just didn't want you to be bored while I painted.
When I have a lot
Can y'all hear that? Give me a heart or like and let me know if you can hear that.
My tendency is to get more input, not less. But what if we approached our daily decisions and our plans for the future less like a hoarder and more like a minimalist? Would it make a difference? I'm Emily P. Freeman, and welcome to the Next Right Thing podcast, where we'll talk about the things that really matter but rarely make the headlines. You're listening to episode 1, Become a Soul Minimalist. And since we're all new around here, I'll give you a hint as to where we're headed together. I'll start things off with a short reflection, then move into a simple action you could take today, and finally, of course, a benediction to help you create a little more space for your soul to breathe. Want to know what your next right thing is? Well, listen in. I recently watched a documentary on Netflix called Minimalism, a documentary about the important things. In it, a woman named Courtney Carver shared her story of being diagnosed with MS. She was scared, and her new husband was scared. Her instinct during that difficult time was to work harder to prove she was okay, overworking, overexercising, and basically overextending herself. But she ended up feeling terrible. The advice she got from people who knew about MS was that she had to start listening to her body. Listen to my body? She asked. I can't even listen to my family. I don't know how I'm going to hear my body. She went on to explain how her journey of simplifying her schedule and her home began to reduce the stress in her life and conversely began to provide her with the space she needed to begin to listen to her body. Courtney Carver's segment in that documentary stuck with me because I can relate to her even without the diagnosis. If we struggle to listen to our family, the people we see and love every single day, and the body we live in and have since the day we were born, how much more, I wonder, do we all have trouble listening to what's happening on the level of our soul, the part of us we can't see at all? The world is run by worn-out people, and our soul is often lost beneath the piles of our everyday life. And so this idea of becoming a soul minimalist is not so different from being an actual minimalist. I first thought about this while I was at the gym, actually, listening to an interview between my friend Tish Oxenreider and author and blogger Joshua Becker. Now, I've enjoyed Joshua's blog, Becoming Minimalist, for a while now, but at that time, I had never heard an interview with him. He and Tish had an easy conversation about stuff, about simplicity, and the difference between too much and enough. I immediately warmed to Joshua's perspective of becoming minimalist, emphasizing how the journey is important even if we never quite arrive at the destination, something he's careful to acknowledge. At some point in their conversation, Joshua pointed out that we all have regular seasonal input of stuff into our homes. Christmas and birthday gifts, school papers, various decorations depending on the celebration, but we don't often have regular output. As a result, the clutter builds up inside our houses. When he said this, a thought started to fill out in my mind. Just like my home, my soul receives frequent input with infrequent output. In that very moment, I was listening to that interview while walking on the treadmill in a crowded gym with not just one TV in front of me, but 8 of them, all in a row. Fox News, NBC, QVC, the works. Meanwhile, a woman in front of me pedaled fast on her stationary bike. There were 2 guys to my left who were working with those giant rubber band things I never quite know what to do with. And behind me, I was aware of movement in the pool on the other side of the glass. Input was everywhere. In the midst of this highly stimulating exterior world, I made a discovery about my interior world. The input is automatic. So where's the output? How am I regularly getting rid of the soul clutter I no longer need? All the things that come in, the difficult conversations, the suspicious glance that someone might give us, the thing we said that we wish that we could take back, all of those things are constantly happening every day, all day. Where's the output? Those things are sticky, and they stick in our souls. How are we letting them go? Now, I don't know if it's realistic to live in a constant state of simplicity. We are naturally complex creatures. Think of our nervous system, circulatory system, digestive system, all the systems. Not to mention relationships, emotions, dreams, hurts, and desires. All of these are part of our human existence, and not one of them are simple. Complexity has its place, to be sure. But when our souls are filled with clutter, what is meant to be complex and awe-inspiring can become complicated and exhausting. When that happens, I crave simple. One of my favorite things Joshua Becker says about minimalism is that it's not enough just to declutter. We have to de-own. He takes it a step further and says this, quote, "Minimalism is not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should own you." When we apply that to the soul, well, now that is a profound statement. When my soul feels like that crowded gym, lots of movement, hurry, and input, perhaps it will bring a bit of peace to embrace the spirit of minimalism when I become overwhelmed on the inside. I can't say what the result of this might be for you, but I can tell you for me, the best way to uncover a bit of white space in my own soul is to be still. Stillness is to my soul as decluttering is to my home. Silence and stillness is how the soul sifts through the day's input. The silence serves as a colander, helping us to discern what we need to hold on to and allowing what we don't need to fall gently away, making space to access courage and creativity, quieting to hear the voice of God. There is no wrong with this. Simply find a few minutes to sit. Close your eyes and listen. When I do that, here's what tends to happen. Okay, so I realize finding a few minutes to close your eyes and be silent might sound extravagant, and I know for some of us it might even feel impossible depending on your life stage. But I'm not talking an hour. I mean, that would be fantastic if you could get it. I'm simply talking about 5 minutes. Just set the phone for 5 minutes and commit to staying still and silent in the presence of God until the timer goes off. When I started to develop a regular practice of sitting in silence for 5 minutes a day, What happened for me was at first frustrating and overwhelming because I was super distracted. And I discovered that sometimes sitting in silence can cause more anxiety, at least and especially initially, because what comes to the surface is all the things I had to do, several things I was worried about. A lot of times regrets about the past will come up or fears about the future. And by the time my 5 minutes is up, I sometimes find myself feeling more overwhelmed than I did when I started. So how is this helpful? I know. Okay, so I've discovered that it's not enough to just do this once or twice. The more you do this, the more you'll be aware and become aware that all those concerns of the day are still going to be there when your 5 minutes is up. That means you can afford to take 5 minutes off. Your concerns will wait for you. So I've started to take 5 minutes every day and allow the silence to settle down onto the level of my soul so that I can take my next right step with a little more confidence, a little more clarity, and if nothing else, a little more awareness that I am loved by God. It's important for me to recognize that here I am with nothing in my hands, and I'm sitting in the presence of God without an agenda. If you have trouble listening to your family, your body, or your soul, a good first step is finding a small crack of time to be silent and still. The second thing that has helped me on my journey to becoming a soul minimalist is to recognize that I'm someone who tends to see everything at once, all of the things. I see the big picture, which can be a really good thing, but it can also make it difficult for me to take my next right step because I tend to want to know, yes, the next right step, but also the next 1,000 steps after that. When you see everything you have to do all at once, you might tend to spin around in circles trying to figure out what's the best thing to do first. I'm learning that I can only do one thing at a time. Now, when I first heard someone say that, I remember thinking, you've probably never seen a woman in the kitchen. It is possible to do more than one thing at a time. Maybe multitasking is your middle name and you are the queen of doing a lot of things at once. While it may be true that we are capable of doing more than one thing at a time, and I think that is true, but what's also true is that just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. Now for me, that statement has changed. Instead of hearing it as a statement of fact, like it's impossible to do more than one thing at a time, now I hear it as an invitation. You have permission to only do one thing at a time. And so when that 5 minutes is up and the day comes rushing back to me, the question to answer before I get up from my chair is this: what is the next right thing for me to do right now? It might be in that moment, go refill your coffee. It could be put in a load of laundry. Maybe it's write that difficult email that you've been putting off. But I guarantee you, it's not all of those things all at once. I am allowed to do one thing at a time, and so are you. As you embrace your own version of becoming a soul minimalist, I hope you'll have the courage to move toward others in love without a complicated agenda. I hope that you'll receive the wisdom to begin to give up what you no longer need, like fear about the future or regret over the past. I hope that you'll embrace a willingness to face the silence within and not worry so much about what you may or may not hear. I hope that you'll receive the energy you need to be fully yourself in the presence of others without fear, pretense, or defensiveness. And so we end with a simple prayer, confessing that we live distracted lives, that our insides often shake with constant activity, that we are accustomed to ignoring our low-grade anxiety, thinking that it's just a normal part of an active life. But we struggle. This might be typical. It might be common, but let it not be normal, Lord. When you walked the earth as a man among men and women, were you ever in a hurry? Did your insides shake with chaos? Did you ever throw your hands up in overwhelm because you had just had it? We know the answer, but let it not lead us to shame. Instead of trying to figure out how we can calm the chaos and hustle around us, we rejoice with confidence that we don't have to undo ourselves. We don't have to figure our way back to the light and easy way of Jesus because you have already made your way to us. We have your Spirit living within us, which means there's hope for us after all. Give us the wisdom to listen to your voice and to face the next moment with kindness toward others as well as ourselves. You are the patience we need to finish each task, one step at a time. You invite us into each moment to simply do the next right thing in love. Thanks for listening to the very first episode of The Next Right Thing. To learn more and access the show notes, visit thenextrightthingpodcast.com, where I'll share resources mentioned in today's episode and other notes that might be helpful. You can find me on Instagram at Emily P. Freeman and at emilypfreeman.com. As always, I hope our time together has helped to create a little more space for your soul to breathe so that you can discern your next right thing. If this episode has been helpful for you, go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. And be sure to leave a review so others can find their way here too. And as a quick side note, I'm excited to be here. It's been 2 years since I first started thinking of creating a podcast like this, but it took that long to figure out what it would actually be. As it turns out, for a long time, my next right thing was just simply to wait, to pay attention, and take good notes. If you are in a time of transition, of waiting, of foggy ideas or unmade decisions, well, you're in the right place. We'll talk about all of that and more in the coming weeks. I hope you'll join me, and I'm so glad you're here.
Okay, guys, so what did you think of the podcast? What were your thoughts, guys, for those of you who joined? Oh, thank you for sharing. Let me turn this off real fast. Okay, so how long did it take me? Oh my goodness. Y'all, that whole chair took me 13 minutes. I am so excited. What were your thoughts on the podcast? I love that. I was listening to it thinking, it's kind of funny that she's talking about not hurrying and I'm hurrying to paint as fast as I can. Isn't that funny? So did you guys like that? I just didn't want you to have to sit here and have me just rambling on like with no purpose. So that made you sleepy. LaWanda, I agree. That one does kind of make you sleepy. I feel like I've gone to the therapist after listening to that one. Oh, good, Christina, you enjoyed it. Well, I just didn't want you guys being bored stiff as you watch me paint. So I thought that would be a fun way for you to maybe do something different. And maybe I'll think of other ones whenever we're doing projects like this. Okay, so tips to speed painting. Y'all watched probably, I hope as I did that, basically I went through and I just got the whole thing covered. Now this is the first coat on the chair, so I'm going to do the second coat. Oh, Stacy, I'm so glad. Oh, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed the podcast. I will share it with her. She doesn't, like I said, she doesn't know me. She probably thinks, who's this crazy woman? I'm hoping it won't offend her that we shared it, but I think that was a fun way to get to listen together. Wait a minute. Hang on, Andrea. What'd you say? Andrea, you're so afraid to paint. Oh my gosh, Andrea, you can do anything. Why would you not paint? Paint stuff, it's easy. Okay, so literally guys, that took me 13 minutes to get one coat on there. And the reason I kind of wanted to do it with the podcast was because I knew I would go way faster if I didn't have to feel like I had to talk while I was doing it. So that's the first coat, as you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the second coat now on this next chair. I'm wondering if I should put another podcast on. Y'all let me know if you want me to hang out. And if you think I should pop another podcast on, we could do her next one. The only thing I need to do is now go back and check for runs. So I'm going to do this really fast. If you've hopped on late, definitely don't forget, if you missed it, there are a ton of great deals over at PassionatePennyPincher.com. So check those out. Literally, guys, I can't believe I did that much in 13 minutes. I'm kind of impressed with myself right now. So do you guys give me a heart if you'd rather me just talk? No, how about this? Give me a heart if you'd rather me pull up another podcast. Give me a like if you'd rather me just sit here and chit chat and try to watch the screen. It just won't go as fast. Do another podcast. Okay, wait, let's see. A like, I said that wrong. What did I just say, guys? Which way did I say it? So which am I doing? Put in another podcast and we'll keep painting? Y'all are looking like put in another podcast and we'll keep painting. Okay, so does that mean hearts mean another podcast? Okay, I'll stick one in. Do we want another one? Let's see, I'll try and look at, hers are pretty short. I'm trying to think of who else I love to tell you to listen to. Most of the other ones I love are business, and so they'll bore you guys out of your minds. Podcast. Okay, guys, I'm going to do her next one because we're already in the next right thing mode. So let me pull it up, and I've already got her computer done. Another podcast. So the next one, you guys, I think it's this next one, is so good. So I'll put this on. And guys, this woman has no idea who I am. I'm hoping she won't get mad at me. You guys, please, 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 y'all, go to The Next Right Thing and subscribe to her podcast. Please, 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 because I don't want her to feel like I'm using her, which I kind of am, for entertainment, but she's so good. Every one of them, y'all, is this good. Oh, this is the one we're going to listen to next. Oh, Sherry, I'm so glad. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is do this before every hard decision. We're going to listen to that while we paint this one. Yay, Sherry, thank you for listening to her. I think, you guys, she's truly my favorite.
Do you have trouble making decisions?
Let's just go.
In particular, is there a decision you know you need to make, but you can't?
Oh.
There could be many reasons why this particular decision is giving you trouble, but today I want to offer one question you can ask that could help you move forward. I'm Emily P. Freeman, and welcome to The Next Right Thing, where we talk about the things that really matter but will rarely make the headlines. You're listening to episode 2, Do This Before Every Hard Decision. If you are chronically hesitant to make a move or simply struggle from decision fatigue, this is a place for you to take a deep soul breath so that you can discern your next right thing in love. It's the year 2000, and I'm working at a local high school as a sign language interpreter. It's morning, and the bell rings to end the first class of the day. I gather up my bag just as the student I interpret for signs to me across the room that she'll meet me in the next class. Thankful for the few minutes I have, I make my way to the teacher's lounge for a quick phone call. My sister is in labor, and I want to call Mom, who's with her, to find out how it's going. I listen as the phone rings once, twice, and then Mom picks up and tells me there's no baby yet, but soon. Just as I'm hanging up to rush to where I need to be, the principal's voice comes over the intercom announcing a tornado has been spotted in the area and everyone should stay put if they're already inside the building and should take cover if they're not. Instinctively, I turn to look out the window behind me, but instead of seeing the flagpole on the front lawn of the high school, I'm surprised to see my own reflection staring back. Outside, it's as dark as night, and it's not even lunchtime. Later, we'll learn the storm that May morning wasn't necessarily impressive, according to the F scale, wind gusts reaching just above 80 miles per hour, but it still comes in as the worst the city has seen in 20 years. The school day eventually continued. My drive home that afternoon was careful and filled with detours around downed trees and power lines. My apartment wasn't damaged, and neither was my car, and my nephew, born later that day, is now 17. There isn't any personal reason why I should still think about that storm very often, but I do, because on a trail less than a mile from my house is a tree with these words etched on it: the May 25th, 2000 big storm. This tree in our neighborhood bears the mark of memory. I don't know how the storm affected the person who carved the wood that day, but it was enough for them to take the time to mark it. When I walk past this tree on the trail near our house, I think about that day still, how the principal had to make a choice for the sake of safety to keep the students inside, and how the sky turned black and ominous, and how we couldn't change the weather, only try to stay out of its way. That's the way to handle yourself in a storm. Take cover and wait for it to pass over. But it's possible to live like a storm is constantly brewing just outside the door, even when the sky is clear and bright. It's possible to take cover even when there's nothing to take cover from, except for a heavy idea or a recurring thought in the night. This is especially true when we have a difficult decision to make. Sometimes we're afraid to move because we want to avoid an unwanted consequence rather than risk making a thoughtful decision to move toward life. This is when our lives become marked by hiding from the potential storms of loneliness, failure, isolation, invisibility. Take cover, or the storm might overtake you. Avoid danger. Sit under the banner of fear. Well, I've done that. I've lived that. Here's how it looked for me, and the one question I've learned to ask before every hard decision. Okay, so choosing what to do next is hard enough already, but add a thick layer of fear and doubt to all those daily decisions we have to make, and you've got yourself a cupcake nobody wants to eat. When my kids were little, I lived in fear a lot. I was afraid of them getting sick and it never ever ending. I was afraid of me getting sick and that never ending. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to take care of them. I was afraid I was going to make the wrong decisions about where we should live, how we should school, if I should take a job or not, or if John should or not. When my first book came out and speaking opportunities started to roll in, I said yes, maybe more than I wanted to, because I was afraid of missing out on something. I also said no a few times because I was afraid I couldn't pull it off. Fear works both ways. It keeps you from doing the things you might want to do, and it convinces you that you have to do things you don't want to do. But one decision for me, in particular, stands out in my mind, and it came to me via email in the winter of 2011. That email was an invitation to travel as a writer with Compassion International to the Philippines, to see the work that Compassion was doing on behalf of children and how they were working to help release them from poverty in Jesus' name. When the invitation came in my inbox, the first thing I did was tear up, of course, and the second thing I did was look up the Philippines on a map, even though I was super sure that it was right off the coast of Haiti. Let me assure you, it is not. I wish I could tell you that I jumped at the opportunity to see the work of Compassion in this third world country. I also wish I could tell you that my hesitancy to say yes was because of my life stage. We had 3 children who were 7 and under. I wish I could tell you it was because of my work schedule. I was, in fact, in the middle of writing not 1, but 2 books because I was crazy. I wish I could tell you that I hesitated to say yes because of the dates, that they coincided with my husband's busiest time of year at work, which they did. And all of those things were true and could have been good reasons for saying no. But those were not the reasons that I hesitated. When it came down to it, my reasons for wanting to say no to this trip to the Philippines were precisely twofold. Number 1, I was afraid to fly. I had been on airplanes before, I really had, and I even flew to Spain once for a wedding, so I had a passport. But a flight from the East Coast to Europe is very different from the sheer amount of airplane travel it would take to get from the East Coast of the United States of America to this little collection of islands in Southeast Asia. Well, let me just tell you, it was a lot of flying is what I'm saying. So that was the first reason. The second was this. I was afraid I would get sick in a foreign country. Okay, let me just break this down for you, people who are not afraid of getting sick. Getting sick in general is already a fear I carried with me, especially at that time in my life. But getting sick in a foreign country, that was like the MVP of sick fears. If fear of getting sick was an actor, getting sick in a foreign country would win all of the Academy Awards. Getting sick in a foreign country was the actual worst thing that could happen. And so I went around and around this decision. For one day, I pretended to say no in my mind. That didn't sit well. And then I pretended to say yes, and that didn't sit well. There was a tugging, a pulling, an unsettledness either way. So after 2 weeks of praying and discussing, of seeking counsel like you do, and general ridiculousness, I finally had a candid conversation with our trip leader, Sean Groves. And he said something to me on the phone that day that I have never forgotten. And it's the question that I ask myself now before every single hard decision. There may be a lot of reasons for you to say no to this trip, he said, but please don't let fear be one of them. It was that one line he said that exposed the truth for me in that moment. I wasn't fully aware of it, but I was basing this decision on a storm I was imagining. In an attempt to avoid an unwanted consequence, I let fear push me around. And so I said yes. A side note to that yes, I didn't feel sure of it until after I made the commitment. I think I was subconsciously waiting for some sense of peace and clarity before I made my final decision. It never came, at least not on the front end. It was only after the decision was made that I felt confident in it. Now, when it comes to hard decisions, I don't wait 2 weeks to ask this question. I ask it at the first sign of hesitation. Am I being led by love or pushed by fear? The answer to that question isn't always clear, but I continue to carry it with me into every hard decision. Because it's one thing to live through something hard, to, for example, get sick in a foreign country and live to tell about it. It would be appropriate to mark that, to admit this was difficult, but we survived it. It's another thing altogether, though, to create a storm in our head and then make our decisions based on a possible scenario that hasn't even happened. This will probably always be something I need to walk through, making decisions out of love rather than from fear. The truth is, I can't prevent storms from coming, but I can decide not to invent my own. Maybe it's good to mark our storms like the tree writer did. This happened. It was bad, and we lived through it. But I want to let go of the habit of making them. If you are facing down a big decision in your life, perhaps your next right thing is to ask yourself the question, in this situation, in this decision, am I being led by love or pushed by fear? In the words of Sean Groves, there might be a lot of good reasons not to do something, or I'll add, to do something. But don't let fear be one of them. And so we turn our eyes to the one who walks with us and lives within us, unbound by time or place or gravity. You go ahead of us into an unknown future. You walk toward us with love in your eyes. You stand beside us when we find ourselves in unsure places. You sit next to us in silence and in joy. You watch behind us to protect our minds from regret. You live within us and lead from a quiet place. When you speak with gentleness, may we not ignore you. When you direct with nudges, may we move with ease. When you declare your love for us, may we refuse to squirm away. When you offer good gifts, may we receive them with gratitude. When you delay the answers, may we wait with hope. We resist the urge to sprint ahead and hurry, or lag behind in fear. Let us keep company with you at a walking pace, moving forward together, one step at a time. Thanks for listening to episode 2 of The Next Right Thing. To learn more and access the show notes, visit thenextrightthingpodcast.com, where I'll share resources mentioned, a transcript of today's episode, and other notes that might be helpful. You can find me on Instagram at Emily P. Freeman and at emilypfreeman.com. As always, I hope our time together has helped to create a little more space for your soul to breathe so that you can discern your next right thing. If this episode has been helpful for you, go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss the next one, and be sure to leave a review so others can find their way too. So, was saying yes to that trip the right decision for me to make? How do we know when to say yes and when to say no? Well, that's coming up on the next episode of The Next Right Thing. Thanks for listening.
Okay, guys, so what did you all think? And please, 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 y'all, I am hoping... Hang on, let me turn this off. Okay, so what did y'all think? Please, please, please subscribe, because I don't know her, and she could potentially be awful and she could get mad at me. I'm hoping she won't get mad at me. I'm hoping she'll get so many subscribers. She'll have like 100 new subscribers today, and she'll be like, thank you for sharing. So please, 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 please subscribe, guys. I feel like she is the most... just such a good podcaster. So I have gotten, y'all, that took me 30 minutes. So remember this chair, as you see a few spots I've got to touch up on here, 30 minutes. And I got the first one totally done. So that was one that was totally black at the beginning. And then I got one more. Guys, 30 minutes. So it really doesn't take that long. Thank you, Susan, for subscribing. I appreciate that y'all got that so much. I think you will love her. I really do feel like you'll love her. And I hope that she doesn't get mad at me. You love Emily. Okay, Susan, I'm so glad to hear that. Any other podcasters? Gosh, I listen to podcasts all the time, but I do mostly business podcasts. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one. But can you see how in 30 minutes I totally just painted that? Let me tell you my tips really fast, because I figured it out yesterday when I was trying to race. I will tell you, if you're an awesome painter and if you do really high quality fancy painting, I am not your girl. So this is Crazy Mama needs to have 5 painted chairs painted in like under a few hours. So that's what this is about. Y'all, I do want to make sure I say seriously, y'all, please, 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 please go subscribe to to Emily P. Freeman, The Next Right Thing podcast, because I don't want her to get mad at me for using her thing. So I'm going to I'm going to send her an email today and say this is what we did, and if she hated it, then I could get deleted, I guess. But I'm hoping she won't. I hope that she gets so many subscribers. So you guys, please, 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 please go subscribe so that I don't feel like a terrible person for doing that. But I didn't want you to just have to sit here and watch me in silence paint. So I thought that would be horrible. And if I use music, I can get in trouble from Facebook. So I'm kind of like was trying to figure out this to do. So let me tell you about how I painted this. Let me tell you my tips. So what I did to get this painted really fast is I used a sponge roller, and I was talking to my friend the other day, and she said she watched me do it on Monday, and because I wasn't focused because I was talking, she was like, you were a mess. She said, I love the roller idea, but you were all over the place. And y'all, this, like I said, I am not a crazy, amazing painter. I am not into doing anything perfect. I don't have time for perfect. I run a business. I've got 3 kids. I would way rather hang out with my children than say, oh, I did the most beautiful paint job ever. As we talked last night, the biggest reason that I'm painting these chairs instead of just buying new chairs, number 1 is I don't want to shell out $600. That's a big reason. Number 2 is my kids ruin everything. Stuff in my house. Oh, Susan, I'm so glad you subscribed. Oh, that's good. I hope that this makes her happy that we shared it and she doesn't get mad at me. If she gets mad at me, I'm going to feel really, really, really awful. I think she seems like a really nice lady girl, so hopefully she will just love that she gets tons of new subscribers today. Anyways, so I don't have time to be perfect, but if I spent $600 on new chairs, even if I got cheap chairs from like Home Goods or at home store, it would cost me easily $600. I do not want to spend $600 when I know that I am super hard on furniture and I really do love the lines of these chairs. So that's why I'm not spending the money. Hopefully that makes sense. I have not painted the table. The table, we are going to keep the table that's my father-in-law's. It was my husband's dad. He passed away almost a year ago. Emotionally, we are not ready to get rid of that table. So the table is sticking. My kids do homework at that table every night. They have forever. So for right now, the table's sticking. No fancy table going on here. And that's another thing. Why would I spend a ton of money? My kids can sit down to that table and I'm never worried about them hurting anything on it because it's just family stuff. So I feel like this is the best option for right now for us, was just to paint. But I will tell you, I'm super excited because now everything in our house is going to match. And so when we do have people come over, at least all of my chairs will be the same color, which I think is kind of exciting. I'm going to look for some cushions for these pads. But I'll tell you, when I painted yesterday and I was trying to go fast, the biggest thing I figured out was to go look at it from all sides. So now I'm on the back side. Do not pick up, this is for the first round. So the second round, you're going to be doing a little bit more perfect work, which as you can see, I didn't even do that on the first round. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over everything, looking at it like very gently. So I'm really just trying to get the paint on there the first time as fast as I can. Then I'll come back through later and I'll touch up with my paintbrush the real stuff. Does that make sense? That just makes it so much easier than sitting there and working on perfect all the time. I realized though Monday though when I was doing it, I was like, talking and painting at the same time is just not easy. So, but you also want to watch for drips. What type of paint? I'm using homemade chalk paint. So this is actually the foyer paint that we have, which again, now everything's going to match. I like stuff that matches. I'm using the foyer paint, and it is, I mixed, to make chalk paint, what you do is you mix 1/3 cup of plaster of Paris with 1/3 cup of water, very much like you would mix a cornstarch slurry. So you're mixing it just like you would mix up a recipe for dinner. So you're mixing that all together. Mix those together, then add that to a cup of paint. So the recipe again is 1/3 cup plaster of Paris plus 1/3 cup water, and you can take any paint that you have in your house and turn it into chalk paint. You could also buy Annie Sloan or Rust-Oleum brands of chalk paint. We're not doing that. We're just making the homemade stuff because I'm cheap and it's what I had and I didn't have time to go to the store. Because I don't have time. We're all about speed painting here. You like the table with character. Oh, that makes me feel better. I love that, Amy. Thank you for sharing that. I will try to look up for comments every once in a while. But the biggest thing about going fast, like I said, if this was something that was like, this is just something we're going to use as our family. We never sit in the dining room. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm all about not being perfect, so. Oh, and I have to tell you, the funny thing about that Emily P. Freeman lady, who's the Next Right Thing podcaster. Her sister is the Nester. I don't know any of these people. I just know them online. Like, I feel like they're my people. Even though I know they're not my people, I think they're my people. So the Nester has an amazing blog also. Her blog is called The Nesting Place, I think. But her tagline is, it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. And that's what I love about a project like this. It doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. It doesn't. And I'm hoping my hiney is not hanging out. Y'all, I'm sure that they never talk about their heinies, because they probably don't even have heinies, because they're probably darling and perfect little people. But we're just, you know, I got a hiney that's hanging out. And if y'all have seen anything, I have a long t-shirt on, so hopefully that covered my hiney hanging out. Pitiful, pitiful. But I did get something painted, right? So that counts for something. Something. Thank you for saying it's a great job. I'm hanging in there. We're getting close. Okay. So when you're going, you're just going to go fast to get this done. I'm actually going to have lunch with a couple friends, so I'm trying to get this done before it's time to leave for that. I don't often leave my house during the week because I work all day, so I'm kind of excited, but I wanted to get this job done first. So as I'm sitting here painting, you guys, can you tell me what is the last thing you painted in your home? Give me a comment with what was the last thing you all painted. Okay, tell me what you painted in the past. And you see all these little spots? I'm going to come back and I'll touch up all the runs and everything else at the end. But I will tell you, it is much harder to paint and talk. Oh, thank you, Karen, for saying you enjoy watching us live. I appreciate you so much. You could paint the chandelier. I'm not painting the chandelier. I just bought it new and I loved it. I feel like I shouldn't paint the chandelier. But maybe I should. Do you think I should paint the chandelier? Has anybody painted a chandelier? That's one thing. I guess I have. I painted these up here. Can you look up and see? Those up there I did paint because they were black, and I painted them silver. Your bathroom cabinets. Okay, painting cabinets, Loretta. Was it Loretta who said that? Painting cabinets is such a chore. Oh my gracious. Such a huge accomplishment to get some cabinets painted. I have done that in several houses. And if you ever paint cabinets, I will tell you, buy the very best paint you can. Because painting cabinets is really hard to do. And we bought cheap paint on our first house and it took us about like 6 coats of paint for those cabinets. It was awful. So buy expensive paints if you're painting cabinets. Can you repeat the recipe? Yes, I'll repeat the recipe for don't paint the chandelier, Katie says. The chandelier is from World Market and I kind of love it. Okay, so the recipe for chalk paint, I'll repeat that. And if you guys have other questions, ask them and I'll pop up and look at the questions. So the recipe for chalk paint is 1/3 cup plaster of Paris. You can pick that up at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever. 1/3 cup plaster of Paris, 1/3 cup water. Mix those together just like you're mixing together cornstarch. Mix those right up together. Then add that to 1 cup of paint, and that will make chalk paint. So what I'm going to do with this is these will take 2 coats of paint, and then I'll add some wax. You can get wax at Home Depot or Lowe's. You can totally like make it look fancy by adding some extra finishing techniques. I'm not going to do that because I just want to get them green. That's all my goal is here, even though I don't know. If I found some awesome stuff, I might do that. Okay. So now I'm just checking for runs. Here's the thing though, you can see like this, we've spent how long? 30 minutes. It took about 30 minutes to do a full chair with 2 coats if you figure the way those 2 went. So 30 minutes to have a whole new piece of furniture. Like if it cost me $100 to buy a new chair, I just made $100 in 30 minutes. So that's a $200 an hour rate. Which is pretty incredible when you think about it. This is almost done, so I'm not even gonna turn this one. And I'm keeping the other one black, so I think the big decision is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is all I'm gonna do. So this is my last one, yay! I may actually go back and finish that one in the back. And then I'll have 2 totally done, which will be so exciting. I'll have 3 done. What time is it? Y'all, what time is it? Let's see. You have the chandelier, just add the shades. I do like the idea of just adding the shades. Y'all, I'm not even gonna turn you guys around for this one. I'm just gonna check for runs and get this done really fast. After I use the roller, I do kind of like to go this way because I don't want it to look rolled. I want it to look painted. Oh, you can see this side is horrible. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Back over now, and I wish I can't get in there really easily is what's hard, is showing you this so you guys can see it and not see my rear end the whole time. It's not easy, and I can't pick it up to move it because it's covered in paint, and I don't want to be totally covered in paint, even though I'm pretty covered in paint. Definitely get an apron if you paint. This is an old one of my sons and husbands that they obviously don't use anymore, so I've taken it over. What do you guys think? I'm so excited. So what's funny is this one was gray, so obviously the paint went on a lot easier than this one, which was black. I'm gonna see if I can't scoot that. There are drips everywhere. I really have to do this side still. Let's see how I can scoot that so you can see it. And I challenge you guys, as you know, if you are sitting here watching this and you're like, oh, this looks awesome, go out and do this. Don't just sit and watch me do it. Tell me what you're going to tackle today, because I promise it does not take that much work, and you will feel so good about you will feel so accomplished when it's done. Last night as I did it, I was like, this is amazing. I'm so excited to have it done. Okay, let's see. Pick this up. Oh my gosh. Let's see how I'm going to pick this up and not get stuff on here. Oh, Lana, you subscribed. Thank you for subscribing to her podcast. I really do truly, truly, truly love them. And they are such a, I think they come out every Thursday. No. Yeah, what's today? Do they come out every Wednesday or Thursday? You will love them. I really do think you'll love them. Oh, you're taking care of baby shower invites. Congratulations, Rochelle. That's a big thing to get accomplished. I love that. Okay, I'm going to finish up this side. And then I'll show you guys the update of what we've got so far for anybody who wasn't on last night to see it. And then I'll hop off for the day. I'm going to get this one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like I have enough. Yay. That's awesome. I have 5 chairs done. I'm leaving one black, so this was all I had to do. I wasn't sure how far we'd get because I didn't know how long I would keep you guys on Facebook Live. And actually, I would totally stop and just show you everything, except that I will have a hot mess of runs if I do that right now. So I gotta do it while the paint's still wet. So sorry guys, you're stuck. If you need to go, I totally understand that. Because I know this is super boring to watch somebody. It's like watching paint dry. But I hope it encourages and inspires you to get something done too. I'll try to look up your comments. You're tackling, oh Margot, you're tackling your Motivated Moms checklist. I love that. I actually did mine this morning. Good job. I would totally quit, except that I want to finish this before. I don't want to get the runs in here. So let me just get all the runs and then I'll hop off and I'll show you guys the rest of the room. And then tomorrow we'll probably be waxing. Oh, I hope I didn't just get paint on my shirt. There we go. Okay. I think we are golden. That's good enough to get me. Let me just check for some runs here. And if you do speed paint, make sure you check for runs, because the runs are the worst and you don't want to have those. So go through and give it a quick once over and maybe even a 2 or 3 time over, because otherwise you will have runs. Especially when using a roller, it just creates a lot of runs because it puts so much paint on there so fast. And I am talking as if I know something about painting. I do not. I just have done a lot of painting, but this is just my experience. So if you're a real painter, you probably know more stuff, and you probably are like, Laura, you're totally wrong, but I don't. This is just what I've seen, so this is just where it's at. Phew. Okay, so are y'all ready to see the room and the updates we did? How many of you guys saw it last night? Give me a harder like if you watched me last night. And if not, I will turn this around so you can see it. Let me push the right button and not step in any paint. There we go. Okay, so here's the big decision. Here is the big decision. This is, I'm trying to decide, oh, and it's hard to see with the light in here. I love the light, so the light fixture is not going. I'm going to take my shoes off just because in case I've stepped in paint, the last thing I want to do is take paint all over the carpet. Okay, here we go. So the mirror is what I got from At Home. I love it. I don't know if it's not the right style to go with everything else. I love the size of it. I wish it was a different color. I feel like it was kind of expensive to paint, but I'm debating painting it cream. So you love the mirror, Jennifer. I also got, let's see, I'll move this out of the way here. I also got the rug at Home Goods. I love Home Goods for great rugs, y'all. Their prices are super reasonable. They're pretty amazing. What do y'all think? So give me a heart if you think I should keep the mirror. Give me a like if you think I should not keep the mirror, so my feelings won't be hurt. The chandelier is saying, the things that have to stay, the dining table have to stay, the buffet has to stay. Those cannot go no matter what. The lamps can stay or go. So basically the wood, the chandelier, and for now the chairs are sticking. Everything else, I really do love the mirror, but some people said on Instagram yesterday, I took a poll on Instagram, and lots of people said no to the mirror, but I kind of love it. You know? The rug makes a massive difference. Let me see. This is such a mess. This is just the reality of the mess. This is what it really looks like here, y'all, right now. But I feel like it's all kind of fine. And the mirror doesn't have, obviously the mirror has wood cardboard around it. So once we take that off, it'll be better. The mirror, I'm on the fence about the mirror. Whoever just asked that. You sent like, you like the mirror. I love the mirror. I just don't know. Here's the thing. So I have wood floor, wood chairs, wood, I have a lot of cream stuff, and then I have the gray light fixture, and then I have a silver mirror. What do you think? I feel like it's so much better than it was though, y'all. I feel like it is like eons ahead of where we were. You love the mirror. I really like the mirror, and I love the size of the mirror. It's so big. You can't really, the scale is just the right scale, especially once we get it hung. You guys like the mirror. Okay, I think I'm going to keep the mirror. The colors on the walls are Sea Salt, Benjamin, more Sea Salt. My office is not picked up. This next color here that I'm going to show you, this is my office, which I have not picked up this morning. I just took out the trash, so it's a mess in here. The color in here is Sherwin-Williams. I'm sorry, Sherwin-Williams Sea Salt is what's in the dining room. Sherwin-Williams Comfort Gray is in the office. I kind of like Comfort Gray a little bit more. So if you're picking a color, if you have a lot of light, even if you don't, I love, this is Comfort Gray and I love it. I do love my office. I wish it was picked up. This is what it really looks like, y'all. This is the reality. My office is not so tidied up, so I'm picking it up right now because I'm embarrassed for you guys to see it. Hang on, I'm just gonna pick it up because, yeah, this is just, you can see I always have a blanket here. The trash day was today, so I just taken the trash out. Yeah, this is just a mess, but that's the way my office stays. So I really don't want to paint the mirror, but there's the office. I do love the office. We designed it once we moved in, and it's probably one of my favorite things I've ever done, except when it's messy like this, but that's just the reality of it. Okay, so Comfort Gray is an awesome color. So this is the Sea Salt, which is one shade lighter. Oh, Felicia, I'm so glad you subscribed to Emily P. Freeman. I'm going to send her an email. She has no idea, I'm sure, who she is. I'm sure she thinks crazy frugal bloggers are not usually kind of the people who they listen to, but I think you guys will love her. I really do feel like you'll love her, and it was nice for me not to feel like I had to talk. Yeah, thank you, Stacy, for saying my office looks like everyone else. So the options on here on the paint, and don't forget, guys, if you click the link in the video, I will sign you up. So you'll be signed up for emails. We will send you out all the deals that we come up. Today there was an Instant Pot deal for $59. All of the deals we send out via email. So sign up for our daily email list. Don't paint the mirror. I really don't want to paint the mirror because it would be a lot of work to paint. The one thing I'm debating 2. Here's the other. And the lamps could change, which I thought if I bought if the lamps were silver, that might make it all better. Yeah, so I don't know. That would make it real. Thank you, Elaine, for your kind words. I really appreciate that. But if I make the lamp silver, get more narrow, taller lamps. Jackie, that's not a bad idea. I could swap out the lamps because I actually need those lamps in other places. Mirror design's a plus. Most of the room is straight line. That's true, Susan. That's a great point, Susan. So the other big debate is paint color. Right now I'm leaving the paint. If I change the paint, it will go to, where did I put those? One of these, which is from the rug. Silver lamps, you feel like that fixes it all, Lane? It's a possibility. I could change the lamps. I actually need one of the lamps somewhere else. I don't know if I can justify that. Oh, Christina, you found it. I think you guys will love it. So those are the paint color options if I go darker. Right now I'm probably going to leave it light, but I kind of love the idea of a statement dining room and everything else. Oh, try the lamp from my office. That's a fantastic idea, but I don't think I can find another one of those, Susan. That was a HomeGoods find. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so anyways, that's an update of where we're at. Hopefully these chairs are going to get done. Keep the mirror, paint the lamps, and change the shades. Keep the mirror, change the lamps, and paint and do the shades. Okay. Carol, we are having some people do concrete in our driveway right now, so the puppy is not there this morning. He is at doggy daycare, and hopefully they will wear him out. So thank you for checking on him. So click the link in the video. There are a ton deals. So click the link at the top of the video. Tons and tons of deals over at PassionatePennyPincher.com, including a great deal. Look at the difference lighting makes. Y'all look at that. When you see people who look awesome online, it's all good lighting. It's not, we don't look that good. We don't, I promise, it's just lighting. So click the link in the video to keep up with all the deals that we share on PassionatePennyPincher.com. There's an awesome deal on an Instant Pot. There is an awesome deal. There were several. Kohl's has a whole bunch of things that are super cheap today. What were they? Kitchen appliances, like a toaster and all kinds of things for $2.72 after rebate. So be sure, click the link in the video to sign up for deals. If you are a new person and this is your first time watching me, this is kind of a crazy morning, but it's always kind of a crazy morning. But if you want to keep up with deals, Facebook is horrible about letting you see stuff. So please, please, please subscribe to email so I can let you know what we're up to. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm praying a beautiful day for you. I'm thinking tomorrow we'll be back waxing the chairs. I don't know. We'll see what we're going to do. You guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.